from travelers asking if it's a safe time, of which I reply, I think it is the best time to go right now because security is very high in those places. So just like September 11, just like Paris, anything can happen honestly at any time. But we haven't had anybody canceling really. We have an education going to Apulia, and some people cancel, but because they were going through other cities before arriving to Italy. So they're going to go on our educational in September as opposed to now. As far as regular travelers, no, nobody canceled.
Okay, great. It's great to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
From an expert in reference to the travel and things to be concerned about. So my next question to you is, when's the best time to travel to Italy?
I would say I love traveling at the end of March. And the reason is because the weather is getting a little bit warmer. There are not as many tourists there yet because it's still considered winter. I would say in the middle of March to middle of June, I would definitely avoid July and August, both because of the heat, but also because of the number of people traveling and the Italians also being on vacation. So it adds to the foreigners. Okay. Then I would say September, October, and in the main cities, not counting Tuscany, let's say, up to the middle of November. Then it starts getting cold. But again, if you're adventurous and you like to not be with so many people, even winter months are fine. You just need to cover up. Yeah.
Okay. How cold does it get? Does it get below zero there, or it's
sometimes 0 Celsius?
Oh, okay.
But no, not that cold. I would say it's probably like New York, Okay. Definitely not as cold. Milan, Venice, it could get as cold as Venice, and then the further south you go, it's milder. Yeah.
Okay. Some questions that people might have as they travel to Italy is the language. Will there be a language barrier for people who are traveling from the U.S.?
No, I really don't believe so, especially because the new generation speaks English. It is mandatory because now we're part of the European community, so it's the first language that is being taught. There are so many, youngsters that travel to foreign countries all the time, so they know the importance of learning the language. Mm-hmm. And anyways, somebody says that you can even speak to an Italian with your hands. So, you don't need to really know the language. You only have to worry if you don't use your hands.
Okay. What about money? Do you recommend when someone comes that they have traveler checks? That might be kind of old school, but yeah. Or should they bring a lot of U.S. currency with them? What do you recommend?
What I recommend, just to be on the safe side, is to exchange maybe $100, $100 US in euro, just to have a little tip money for when you arrive and you kind of adjust yourself and understand where the bank is. But then I would use your ATM to withdraw money and get as much money as you think you're going to use in cash or want. To avoid, having to withdraw multiple times and then having fees, being taken out of your account. It depends on what bank account you have. If you have a credit union, usually those are the banks that have the lower fees, like 1%. Mm-hmm. If you have Wells Fargo, Chase, and you name it, the bigger banks is usually the ones that have the higher fees. Then credit cards are the most, they're very well used. They're not used in, let's say, small shops or markets. Street markets, let's say, even when you get a coffee, they only accept cash. So it's kind of like Mexico. They prefer cash over credit cards. But if you buy a purse, if you buy anything in the stores, credit cards are fine. Just make sure you get one that doesn't have the international fees attached to that.
Okay. I remember when I was in Italy several months ago, and I went to the market and I was so frustrated. I didn't have enough cash on me. And like you said, they don't accept credit cards. So there were some beautiful things there that I was like, oh, I wish I had the money.
That's right. And things
So-
are changing, but yes, definitely consider that,
Yeah.
especially for the purses and such.
Right. And being in the market atmosphere, they even here if you go to different farmers markets or different markets that they prefer cash, but things are changing.
Yeah, and even for tips,
Yes, you should have.
Yeah.
Be prepared. Don't be like me. Be prepared and have your cash with you. So, okay, my next question is: Does someone travel to Italy? Do they need a passport? Do they need a visa? What's required?
American citizens do not need a visa, and I believe also Canadians if they stay up to 3 months, but always check with your embassy. People that have a green card with another passport, just people that have other passports beyond, US and Canadian, they should definitely check with their embassy. I am not familiar with all of the countries that obviously need a visa and don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
A passport is needed, yeah. And it has to be valid up to 6 months from when they are supposed to return.
And I don't know if you mentioned this, do they need to have a certain amount of blank pages in their passport?
I don't know. I don't think so because it's only one stamp. So definitely 2 free stamps at least.
Okay. All right. So, Laura, who would you say is your ideal client? I know that See Italy Travel works specifically with travel agents.
Right.
But for that person who's looking and considering Italy, and hopefully they will give me a call, and I will work with them, with you. What is your ideal client?
Our ideal client is the one that wants to have a special experience when they travel to Italy. They're not the ones that are only interested in visiting monuments, in being on the go all the time, and just check a list of things. I mean, obviously, our customers do see the Vatican, the Colosseum, and the main sites. But what they are mainly interested in is the interaction with the locals, the stories, definitely guides that have more time in their hands in the sense that they're not just there to talk about the monuments, but they're there to talk about politics, to talk about their own lives, to share things that a tourist wouldn't really, I would say, get from a large group tour, from, just being at a slower pace. Our customers as well are the ones that are interested maybe in a kayak tour of the Venice canals just to see Venice from a different point of view. They're interested in going to a local's home in Rome and have a dinner there. They're interested in unusual things that they couldn't find on their own, and they would have never thought about it. Also, by offering these things on a travel agent point of view, is that they would be different from the mass. And the client wouldn't go online and going like, well, I could do that myself. I know that she offers this, but I can get it cheaper or less expensive. When they do that, they don't really understand that maybe what you're offering is with the smaller group, what you're offering is with a top guide, or, it's just more than just, again, being a tourist. So I wouldn't say it's for the discerning client what we offer, but it's for those people that call you and don't say, how much is it going to be? They call you, our customers call you and go, what can you offer that is different? Or what kind of experience can I do? Or I've been to Rome before. Can you offer something different? I really loved the Colosseum, but I want to see it under another point of view, So maybe you could offer, if they've been to Rome before, they still want to do the Colosseum because they've done it previously, maybe offer it at night, or do the gladiator school for the kids, or even the adults might want to do that, or do the underground of the Colosseum. So always make it a little bit different with a twist,
Now, you mentioned gladiator school. I'm not familiar with that. Tell me a little bit more about what that is for the children.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot, and I don't know if I'm getting them all because I have children, and the people that work for me don't want to deal with that. So I've been doing a lot of Venice kayaking for families with kids. I've done hiking, and I've done the gladiator school in Rome, which is you go to this place where they dress you up in a gladiator, and for 2 hours they teach you how the gladiator was, fighting, and a little bit of history, but it's more